Hello friends, I just filmed my TBR for May and I wanted to come on here because I realized that I've started several vlogs this month and not actually finished any of them, which means that I'm going to try to compile them all together. So the video that you're about to see is a mishmash of different things that happened to me throughout the month of, not happened to me, that sounds very dramatic, that happened that I did in the month of April. Mostly in chronological order. I will be popping in occasionally to cover books that I briefly mention and then don't talk about ever again, because I imagine that that will happen. So without further ado, please enjoy this kind of chaotic April vlog. Hello, it is Tuesday, and I am gonna start a weekly reading vlog. So this will go through Sunday, hopefully. Yeah, I got back from Vermont on Sunday. This last Sunday. I uploaded my vlog for that trip and for my week off yesterday. And now I'm gonna start this vlog. So I just got home from work. I am going to a baseball game tonight with my brother-in-law and my sister and Matt, of course. The Royals and the Astros, I think, and it's Dollar Dog night, which means that everyone else is eating at the stadium. I'm eating at home. I bought these vegan fish fillets, so I think I might have those for dinner. I don't know though, because I actually have a bunch of leftovers that I need to eat, so I'm probably gonna eat some of that instead and save the vegan fish fillets. But that's where I'm at. I'm currently reading A Storm of Swords by J.R.R. Martin, which is not George R.R. Martin. J.R.R. Tolkien is who that is. Anyways, doesn't matter. But it's the third book in the Game of Thrones series. I have it on my April TBR, so I'm reading it. I'm not very far in at all. I'm like 5% of the way in, which it's a 1,100 page book, almost 1,200 pages. So I'm maybe gonna listen to more of that tonight. I also have an ebook for The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, and I'm on hold for an audiobook of that. I listened to the first one via audio and I liked that experience, so I might wait for the audiobook. I don't know, but then I don't know what I have to read ebook wise. I am reading a physical book that is not going to be part of this vlog, but it is for another project that I'm doing that I'm hoping can go up either Monday or Thursday of this week. Well, Thursday or next Monday. So that's my plan for that. What is on this shirt? It doesn't matter. I don't know if other people do this. I wear the same like pajama shirt for like a week before I wash it. So this is like day 3, I think, but we're not going to talk about that. And yes, I do put my pajamas on as soon as I get home from work, because why would I continue to wear torturous clothes all day? But I do have to change into real clothes to go out tonight. So that's where I'm at. I will let you know when I have more updates, and hopefully this vlog is fun. I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done because, like I mentioned, I am back to working full time. So I did start my job yesterday. It's going well so far, but it is kicking off quite intensely. So I do have a case list already and I'm ready to just sort of hit the ground running on that. But yeah, I will let you know when I have other updates soon, and I will catch you when I catch you. Hello, it is Monday morning. I think I've been filming all of my updates in the kitchen, but it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm about to head off to work. I need to grab my breakfast because I meal prepped some overnight oats for breakfast, and I'm gonna make myself a quick salad here just to bring it to work for lunch, just in case. We've been going out to eat a lot at lunch, or at work for lunch, because I just started, so everyone has been taking me out to eat to, like, I think make me feel welcome, which is very kind. So I have not eaten a single meal in the office for lunch yet, but I'm about to. Oh, I just wanted to pop on here and let you know that I'm continuing this vlog through this week. We are going to Las Vegas at the end of this week, so I think that'll be really fun. I don't know how much footage I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna try to video some things to give you some B-roll. I think I've got a little bit of B-roll from the baseball game we went to, but honestly, probably not much. But yeah, I'm still slogging my way through Game of Thrones, the 3rd book. I think I'm close to 40% of the way through with it. I have like 7 days left of my audiobook, so I really need to get reading it. I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, listening to it on the flight will get through some time. But yeah, it's kind of a slog. It's just a really long audiobook. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot going on. I can't really listen to it more than like 2.3 times speed, which, if you know me, normally I'm at least 2.5, if not 3 times speed for a lot of things. I used to just be at 2 times speed, and now, like, I just feel like this book would take me so long to get through if I just listened to it at 2 times speed. But it's definitely something that I have to like focus on as well, because there's so many moving parts. I think it's probably going to be another 3-star. Oh, this is not a bruise, by the way. I wipe off my like makeup brushes when I'm doing my eyeshadow. I haven't cleaned my brushes in like 6 months, which I know is gross and I need to do it. and there's some on my hand too. I just wipe off dirty brushes on myself while I'm getting ready, and then, you know, because I don't have a color switch or anything. Anyways, so if you see questionable things, it's not a bruise, it's eyeshadow. So I probably should wipe that off before I go to work, huh? But yeah, I'm reading that. My mother-in-law called me the other day and was just asking me about a few things for my brother-in-law's upcoming wedding. But she also was asking me if I've read this Emily Henry book that I'm not gonna remember what it's called now, but hopefully I'll pop a picture here, or I'll talk about it later. And it's, gosh, like The Love That Split the World or something. So I got that. I put it on hold for my library when she called and asked about it, and then it came in last night. So I read a chapter of it last night. And it seems like it's about this girl who is Native American and was adopted by a white family. And since she was a child, she's been getting visions, I don't know, of people coming to her at night. And one of these people is called Grandmother. And it's just this elderly Native American woman who tells her these stories. And the Native American woman said that this is, at the start of the book, she's 18. She hasn't seen this woman in 3 years. But the woman came to her again and basically tells her, like, this is the last time I'm coming to you. And I think it's going to be a lot about, like, Native American identity. And she told this story of, like, creation that's basically, like, a woman had a vision from her father that she should go marry this other guy. And her father was the only person in the world that had died at this point. And so she goes and finds the guy and marries him. And then at some point he gets really jealous of her and her relationship with the tree. And then he uproots the tree and they see a little like world down there. And so she dives into the world below and then they cover her up with the tree. And that's how the world was created or something. So I don't know how much that story is going to relate to the rest of this book as a whole, but I'm excited to find out. So that's it. I'm going to finish getting ready because I really do need to bounce out of here, and I'm gonna go to work. But I just wanted to let you know that this vlog is continuing because I did not film anything after like Tuesday of last week because I really didn't have any updates, to be honest with you. So yes, I will talk to you soon. Okay, so I actually just filmed the intro to this video, but I did want to come on here and say the plan for the rest of the vlog. It is April 27th, I believe, as I'm speaking to you, and I am officially 4 books behind on my Goodreads goal. So I'm going to be spending, it's a Saturday, today through Tuesday, which is the end of the month, trying to read at least 4 books, hopefully 5 books actually, to get me back up to speed so that I'm even with my goal when we start May. That is my goal. So I'm like 59% of the way through the 3rd Game of Thrones book right now. I believe I have like 8 hours left of the audiobook to listen to, 8 or 9, which is kind of a lot. I also have not yet started Night of the Animals by Bill Brown, but I do have that as an audiobook on Everand. So my plan is to finish Game of Thrones and then read that as an audiobook, and those are going to be the audiobooks that I do this for the end of the month. I hope, I don't know. And then I have an ebook of The Vanishing Hour by Lisa King, which is a post-apocalyptic dystopian book, I believe. And it's about this old man who, I've sort of started it. I'm like 30 pages in. I started it last night, I believe. And it's about this old man who doesn't really like being around other people. Honestly, the way that he's being described, and we're kind of in his head, it's reminding me a lot of a man called Uwe. So I don't know how lighthearted it's gonna end up being or how like deep and dark it's gonna get, but he was married to this woman, Tamara? I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's not a character so far. He has a roommate who is a sex worker, and he's like a 70-year-old man who like really doesn't like being around people. He's kind of a recluse. And at the beginning of the book, he starts hearing this like crazy amount of noise outside of his apartment or his house. And there's people like running and screaming. So it's the end of the world. And I know from the synopsis that he's going to come in contact with like, it says a young girl. I don't know if she's going to be like a child or like a 20-year-old or really what. Her name is Ruby. We have not met her yet, but I think they're going to have to face the end of the world together. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. And I know there's a place called the Horizon that they're going to have to try to get to, but I don't know what that means yet. So that is the book that I'm reading as an ebook. I've been saying it forever, I'm going to reread Dark Matter. I put tabs in because I want to tab it this time. And I'm excited to reread this. So if I can get all of those done, that's 4, right? Then I need to pick something else to read. And I'm hopefully going to find, what I'm really hoping I can do here is find some shorter audiobooks that I can get through. Because I think that's going to be the best way for me to read more. Although I will say I've been more in the mood to physically read or like read on an ebook than I have been to listen to audiobooks recently. I don't know what it is, but when I'm listening to something, I feel like I'm more inclined to listen to music right now than I am to listen to an audiobook, which again is different for me. But I did want to talk a little bit about Game of Thrones. I'm not going to do anything spoilery, but I will say I'm at that point that I said like 60% of the way through the 3rd book, which is called Clash of Swords? Storm of Swords? I think Clash of Kings was the 2nd, Storm of Swords is the 3rd. I could be mixing those up, but regardless, I'm really starting to get into it. Like, I'm really starting to like it. I love Daenerys. I actually really like, is his name Tyrion? The dwarf. I love him. I'm really looking forward to starting the show, which again, I have still not started. To be honest with you, that's the other thing that I've been doing a lot of, watching a lot of movies, watching a lot of TV shows. So I've been watching, we finished Hell's Kitchen. We're starting a new season of Survivor, which I think is the newest season that's out. 46, I think is what season we're on. And we love Survivor. So we're very into that. And I've also been watching We're Here, which is a TV show that's kind of like Queer Eye, but it's for drag queens. So it's these 3 drag queens, which I am not that familiar with drag queens, to be honest with you. So it's Shangela, who, to my understanding, actually has a lot of controversy around her right now. Like rape allegations and stuff. I don't know exactly. I just looked it up to see what season of Drag Race all of them were on, and that's what popped up for Shangela. So I don't know anything about that, but I'm just so you're aware, I guess. There's also Bob the Drag Queen, who won season 10 of Drag Race, maybe? I could be wrong about that. Do not quote me on this. I don't watch Drag Race, by the way. My knowledge of drag queens and drag is like very minimal. But Bob the Drag Queen, Shangela, and Eureka O, is that what her drag name is? And I believe she's actually living as a trans woman now. But so far in the show, she is not. But I'm watching season 1 of that. I know there's a new season coming out this month, which is why I've been watching it. And every episode makes me cry. I don't know what it is about it, but essentially they go to the small town, whatever small town that is. They've gone to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. They've gone to Farmington, New Mexico, Branson, Missouri, which is funny. And then Twin Falls, Idaho, somewhere in Idaho. But they go to these towns. They have at least 3 people because each of them has a drag daughter that they get in this town. And sometimes it's a person who wants to do drag. Sometimes it's like a straight cis man who wants to show that he's not afraid of femininity. Sometimes it's a person who has a child who is gay and they want to show their support for that. There's like all sorts of different reasons that people do this. But they get put in drag and they put on a drag show for the community. And something about it is like so powerful to watch. And I've never watched like drag in real life that was this emotional. So like drag in real life that I've seen has always been like just like fun and goofy. And like obviously impressive a lot of the times because like people are really good at this stuff. The best drag queen I've ever seen is at Hamburger Mary's in Kansas City, and she sings all her own songs and sounds amazing. And that is incredible to me, but especially with like the dancing and stuff, you know what I mean? But anyways, I've been really enjoying that show and it makes me like really emotional. So I've watched, I think 4 episodes and 4 or 5 episodes and I'm almost done with season 1. And then I'll probably take a break from that and watch something else for a while. I also there's this UK show called Passenger, which is like a sci-fi detective show, which is really interesting. I watched the first season of that because that's all that's out. I've been watching a lot of TV. And I want to watch Yellow Jackets because I've heard amazing things about that. That's the one with the soccer team. I believe it's a soccer team that gets crash landed. And then there's like sci-fi things that happen. And I think it'd be kind of fun to do watching Yellow Jackets, the show, and then talking about like reading different books that are inspired by it. But we'll see. Again, I want to watch Game of Thrones. So I've got all these things that are like on my to-do list. Also, there's like a bunch of movies that either just came out or are coming out that are like really interesting to me. So I really want to go to the movies. So all of that to say, those are a lot of the reasons I have not been reading. I didn't read anything while I was in Las Vegas last weekend. I don't really think I vlogged anyways, but we went to Hell's Kitchen Thursday night when we first got there, and then we went out with a bunch of people, again, for like drinks and gambling and stuff. Most of what we did was like walk around with like an alcoholic frozen lemonade and walk through different hotels and casinos. Like that's pretty much all we did, but it was so fun, such a blast. Friday night we went and saw Penn and Teller, which we watched the You Fooled Us show, which is filmed at the Rio, and then Penn and Teller perform at the Rio in the Penn and Teller Theater, which was so fun. So we went and saw their magic show. What else did we do? We had like a full pool day where we just hung out at the pool. We stayed at the hotel called The Link, and they have a pool with a DJ, and 3 of our guy friends, 2 of them have girlfriends, but their girlfriends didn't come on the trip. One of them got invited to a wedding and the other one had a work thing, I think. So they stayed with our other single guy friend, and they paid like extra to rent this room that is poolside. So they have like a cabana thing, like they have a porch area that goes out into the pool. And we used that as our like home base because you're not allowed to bring your own alcohol into the pool area, but obviously they can't control what they drink in their room. So we were just like going back and forth between the pool and their cabana area the whole time. So we saved a ton of money on not having to buy drinks, which was amazing. I had such a fun time. What else did we do? We got brunch. We did a like bottomless mimosa buffet brunch one day, which actually, it was at the Palms. It was the best deal we had the whole time. I think it was like $35, but that included the bottomless mimosas and included like whatever you wanted to eat, and it was 90 minutes. And frankly, like that's enough time, I think. I will say that the mimosas were very clearly like on a schedule, so I don't think you could have gotten more than 4 if you tried, because we did try. Every time we saw her, we were like, more mimosas, please. But yeah, it was super fun. I really, really enjoyed myself. But all of that to say, I did not read a single thing. Even on the plane, normally I read on planes or like listen to an audiobook. And I don't know if it's just because like Game of Thrones is what I've been listening to, and it's so like, you have to focus on it, and it's so like intensive and wordy, and you have to like be able to track what's going on. But I just couldn't. So I didn't at all. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. I'm gonna right now listen to more Game of Thrones and hopefully try to get through as much of it as I can while I do some chores around the house and stuff. And then I will let you know when I finish any of the things that I've talked about. And hopefully, again, hopefully, I will be able to get my Goodreads goal back on track. So we'll see. That's my goal for this portion of the vlog. Hello, Editing Mary here. And I just wanted to pop in and say that I wanted to give reviews of the things that I didn't finish talking about in this vlog. I think the only one that I really like mentioned that I didn't talk about that I did read is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. Spoiler for my wrap up, which will be the video you see after this. But I love that book. It's about this girl, and she, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, could see like this old woman, her grandmother, and then she starts noticing glitches in her everyday life where she's sort of seeing things, not that aren't there, but are like different than the reality that she knows. And she has these instances where she like fades in and out. Like sometimes she can see like, instead of her school, it's like a field of buffalo. And sometimes it's the same church that she normally sees, but there's an extra wing to it. And she also meets this boy who she's never met before, whose name, now I'm not going to remember, Bo. It's Bo. And the main premise of the book is that this girl has grown up in Kentucky her whole life. She's felt very like fenced in by everything. And it's starting to really bother her that she doesn't have the connection to her native roots that she would like to have. Like she doesn't have any contact with her biological mother and, or biological family at all. Like she doesn't know who her biological father is. I think she knows who her biological mom is the whole time. But it's just like she's having like an identity crisis. And before the book starts, we know that she got into, or like at the beginning of the book, we know she got into Brown University, which is up in Rhode Island. So she's leaving Kentucky. And she's like so thankful to get out, basically. And she meets this guy named Bo, and he is like very mysterious, and there's sort of like a love connection there. There's also a lot dealing with her and her ex-boyfriend. It's this guy Matt, who's like her childhood sweetheart. And Matt is a very like Kentucky born and bred, will stay here forever, and that's why they end up breaking up, which happens before the book starts, but she is really like struggling with her decision to break up with him because she does still love him. But then the book goes on, and her grandmother on her last visit gives her this like list of tasks that she has to complete. And it's like she has 3 months to complete it, and she has to like do these things to save him, but she doesn't know who him is. And so the story goes from there. I love this book. I really did. I talked to my mother-in-law about it because, again, she's who made me read it. And I wasn't exactly sure why she wanted me to read it, but she wanted to talk about the ending. And so obviously I won't spoil anything here, but I liked the ending more than she did, I think. But we sort of like talked about it a little bit, and I think we're like both on the same page. It's kind of an ambiguous ending. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler to say. Maybe it is, but like you don't get a very firm ending, which I know some people really don't like. I don't know if my mother-in-law doesn't like that in general, or if she just wasn't super fond of it in this instance, but that's that book. I also mentioned wanting to read The Vampire Lestat. And then in the time between when I was vlogging for Las Vegas and when I picked up this vlog again to do my like final project, I did end up reading that book. I gave it 2 stars, and I'm not continuing the series. I just don't care about it. Like, I think I gave the first one, did I give it 4 stars? Realistically, it should be a 3. It was fine. But it's Interview with a Vampire, which is that movie with Brad Pitt, right? And it's about these vampires in New Orleans. And the first book / movie follows Louis, and he becomes a vampire in the 1800s, maybe, in New Orleans. And Lestat is who changes him. And so it's his relationship with Lestat, and in the present day, which is the 1980s, he's giving this interview. That's why it's called Interview with a Vampire. The Vampire Lestat is Lestat writes a book kind of in response to this interview about him. In present day, Lestat has become this like rock god who like his whole bit is that he's a vampire, but people don't really believe him because vampires aren't real, you know? But he is a vampire. And then he goes back into his backstory. I just thought it was boring. I just didn't care. I don't care about these books. I also didn't like the horror elements didn't hit for me. I don't know if the first one I liked better because I was more in the mood for it. I don't know if I liked it better because I hadn't read as much at that point. Like every day I'm reading more books, right? So things are getting older to me faster than I think they would for the average reader. But also I don't know if it's just like not my vibe anymore. And I remember distinctly liking the horror elements of the first one. And I didn't really care about any, like the horrific things that happened in the second book. I didn't care about. I didn't like. So, and I also, the other thing I wanted to say is I have a lot of nostalgia for the first book because I've seen the movie so many times. And that didn't exist for the second one. Although, as I was reading it, the rock parts especially, I'm going to have to look into this. There's an early 2000s movie with a group of rock stars where one of them is a vampire. Is that The Vampire Lestat? Have I seen this movie and I just didn't know it was related to Interview with a Vampire? It's possible. But also that could be a different movie. So anyways, this has been too long, but I just wanted to let you know about those things. And I think that's the only thing I have to catch you up on in this vlog. So enjoy the rest of the vlog. Hello, it's Sunday and I'm checking in briefly because I finished the Game of Thrones book I was reading and now it's getting good. So I rated that book 4 stars. I did enjoy it. You hear the dog coming up the stairs? Murphy! There he is. I really enjoyed it. I like the direction that it's going. It did have kind of a twist ending, which the last book also had. I don't remember if the first book did, but I'm sure it did. They sort of end like with a reveal of sorts. I did not care about the reveal at the end of book 2, I can tell you that much. But I did find the book 3 reveal very interesting. So I do want to start the show hopefully soon. I keep saying that I'm going to watch it and I haven't. But that's not what we're doing this weekend. This weekend and the first part of this week, we are trying to read as much as we can so that I can catch up for my Goodreads goal. I am now 3 books behind on my Goodreads goal, and I have a feeling I need to read 4 books to catch up because I don't know at what point I'm going to go back to being 4 books behind, but I am about 42% through Night of the Animals by Bill Brown, which is about this guy who is older and homeless in the future in England. And the Heaven's Gate cult is back, which I believe was a cult in the 70s. Do not quote me on that. You can Google it. I don't really know that much about it, but I do know that they were the people who did like the mass suicides. So it's back. They're doing mass suicides. And also they're like doing mass animal sacrifices to try to get rid of all life on Earth, I guess. I don't really understand it, but our main character, whose name I'm not going to remember, is this old man who is homeless and he has a drug addiction problem. It's called the Float, which seems like a liquid drug. So you drink it kind of like alcohol, but it's not alcohol. I don't really know. But he thinks that the animals are talking to him and trying to get him to release them from the London Zoo. So that's what he is doing during this Night of the Animals. He's releasing all the animals from the zoo, and bad things are happening when he releases the animals. We also keep going back to his past because he's also trying to find his brother, but we know that his brother is dead. His brother drowned when they were children. Very, what's that movie? It's a Wonderful Life, if you will. But I'm not liking this book very much, to be honest with you. If I was not doing this to try to catch up to my Goodreads goal, I would DNF it. I think it's pretty boring. I'm just not liking it. So I'm probably going to give it 2 stars. I don't think it'll get 1 star. Maybe it will if I really hate it, but I'm not really liking it very much at the moment. I also am reading that Lisa King book, which is called The Vanishing Hour. And the child, it is a child, she's 12, Ruby, has met Matthew, the old man who lives in this house. And he has invited her into the house. And that's the point where I am. I'm only like 10% of the way through that one, I want to say. So that one I'm reading is an ebook. I'm probably going to continue listening to Night of the Animals as I cook dinner tonight. I'm going to make some bean chili. And I'll probably start that in the next like 30 minutes or so because it's almost 5 o'clock. And then hopefully I can finish it tonight. I think I have like 4 hours left on the audiobook at the speed that I listen at. So I don't know if I'll actually get to finishing it, but that's sort of the plan, to finish it tonight or tomorrow, and then hopefully pick up another audiobook as soon as I finish that so I can get through something else, hopefully a book that I like more. I'm glad that I'm reading Night of the Animals because, again, one of my goals for this year is to get my physical TBR does need to get down, but I'm not that pressed about it at the moment. My ultimate goal for this year is to cull my Goodreads TBR because right now I have like 1,200 books on there. 1,250, something like that. And I would really like to get it down to under 1,000. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Maybe even lower than that in the future. So I'm not adding anything to my Goodreads TBR at the minute, except for sequels that are coming out that I want to be reminded of. So that's where I'm at. I will let you know when I have another update, and I will let you know how dinner is, I guess. But I'm really hopeful that I can get some more things read so that I can catch up to my Goodreads goal because I have not been reading this month. And I also was looking at my, what I read last month. I did not read very many books last month either, which is why this is happening because I read a lot in January. I think I read like 20 books in January or something. And then I've read like less than 10 last month. So we'll see. But anyways, that's where I'm at. Hello, it is Tuesday. It is the last day of November. No, what? It's the last day of April, which means it's also the last day of this vlog. And I have finished something else since the last time we talked. So I did end up finishing Vanishing Hour by Lisa King yesterday, I believe. And I gave that 4.5 stars. I really, really liked it. I honestly would say that I loved it. So I wanted to give it 5 stars, but it just didn't give me the 5-star feeling, if that makes sense, which feels kind of crazy to say. But I am currently still reading Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I don't know if I've actually talked about this at all. I picked up Tess of the D'Urbervilles when I finished the other audiobook I was listening to, which now I can't remember. Oh, Night of the Animals. Did I update that? I think I gave it 2 stars. I did not like Night of the Animals very much. I think I've talked about that. If not, hopefully I remember to insert a clip here talking about it more. It's editing Mary back again because I did not, in fact, talk about Night of the Animals. So I don't really have much more to say except for that I gave it 2 stars. I did not like it. I liked the ending more than I liked the like first 75%, but I didn't like the very ending. I just thought it was boring. So I read an article and apparently this book allegedly predicted Brexit. It's just a dystopian. It came out right before Brexit happened, so maybe that's why people were so pressed about it. But it also never explicitly talks about the UK leaving the EU that I recall. So did it predict Brexit? I don't know. But I don't know. This book, a lot of people seem to really, well, actually the average rating on Goodreads is 3 stars. But I think a lot of people in general in the world that are like literary people like this book. I just don't know how well loved it is among the common reader, which is me. I didn't like it very much. So that's my whole review. Sorry if you can hear the yard work going on. There's yard work going on, apparently. That's what happens when you're at your house in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, I guess. The reason I came home, actually, is because I wore this brand new skirt suit that I just got from Loft. And the zipper burst on it. So, not great. It's one of those really cheap plastic zippers. So I think I can get it to, like, eventually unjam and go all the way down. And then I can pull it back up. But it just like the zipper busted open. And it's not that the skirt is too small for me. Like the skirt fit fine. But yeah, that's really frustrating to have to deal with. So I'm at home now. And if I feel like it, I might go back out, but probably not. I'm going to work from home though. I do have some stuff to finish. But anyways, it's like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. almost. But, so I made it through a good portion of the day without that happening, but not ideal at all. So, I did pick up an audiobook of Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I'm about 72% of the way through it. Tess of the D'Urbervilles is a classic by Thomas Hardy, and it's about this girl, Tess, who at the beginning of the book, her family is, like, impoverished, but they have this lore, I guess, that they are part of this actually really wealthy family, but they just branched off and lost their wealth. And so she is sent by her father to go to this, they're called the D'Urbervilles, because her last name is Derbyville, I think, and then they're the D'Urbervilles, which is supposed to be this aristocratic family, and so she gets sent by her dad to go to them. It turns out they're actually not part of this family too. I don't know, I was trying to do a little bit of research on exactly what was happening, because I find that helps me digest classics better, and get into the head of what's going on. I know some people don't like that, but do whatever you want to do, I guess. For me, it helps, so I did look into it a little bit, and apparently they're not actually part of the D'Urberville family either. They, like, bought their crest. But she meets this guy, Alec D'Urberville, who purports to be her cousin, and then he ends up raping her. And it's called The Seduction in the book, but I did a little bit of, like, again, research into what was going on, because I was pretty sure that's what happened, but it's not explicit, obviously, because this book was written in, like, the 1800s. So it just sort of mentions what happened and then sort of, like, backs off from it right away. But they call it a seduction because it was sort of believed, and some people still believe this, that, like, your looks and, like, being in the wrong place at the wrong time and her letting him take her, like, home with him instead of waiting for the group of people she was supposed to be waiting for, all of these things contributed to his seduction of her, but really he rapes her. And it's also, like, pretty heavily foreshadowed that that's going to happen earlier in the book. So anyways, because he, like, force feeds her a strawberry at one point, but that's, like, the very beginning. And then it's sort of following her after that happens and her maidenhood is removed. She later, like, I think years later, is pursued by this guy Angel, who is someone else, who is romantically interested in her, and she really doesn't want any romantic interest because she doesn't want to have to disclose this thing that happened to her, right? And so she is, like, trying to rebuff this guy's interest. Eventually she gives in, and eventually they have this, like, I don't know if it's spoiling to say too much about this, but this book really does analyze the difference between the societal construct of, like, virginity for men versus women, things that are okay for men but not okay for women, because, like, Tess obviously faces all of this shame for what has happened to her, and then Alec has none of that. Angel has none of it. And so it's just really interesting the way that it goes. Also, I hate the character Angel a lot. Like, Angel Clare is one of my least favorite romantic interests, if you will, that I have ever read. I hate him. I really do. I find him horrible. And, like, obviously Alec is no prize, but I don't think you were supposed to come away from this thinking Alec was a good guy. Like, I think you're supposed to come away from this book thinking, at best, he's, like, a rascal and, like, trying to trick women, and at worst, a rapist. So, obviously not a great guy. But, like, I will not be able to stomach it if Angel is supposed to be, like, a good guy, because I don't think he is supposed to be. Like, I am so mad reading this book, and it's one of those things where, like, I rate on a scale of enjoyment, right? So 1 star is a book that I hated, 5 stars is a book that I loved, but that is difficult for things like this, where I feel like the book is really well written, but I don't know if I could say that I love it, if that makes sense, but it is making me feel a lot of things. So again, I'm not finished with it, but I will hopefully be finished with it soon, because I think I have, like, 4 hours left of the audiobook, and I'm listening on 3 times speed, which is just over an hour, so I should be able to knock that out while I make dinner tonight, which is exciting. And then I also wanted to update you that I am 280 something pages into my reread of Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which I've been saying I was going to reread for a while. I was going to tab it, and I've tabbed a few things, but to be honest, it's not a super tabbable book for me. I thought it would be because there's, like, foreshadowing and stuff, so I planned out all these things I was going to tab, and then it's just really, it flies by. and I don't really feel the need to tab that much of it. So I think if I read this for the first time now, I don't know if I would love it as much as I am loving it, but I read it a couple years ago, and like, it's very exciting. It's compulsively readable. It's about this guy, Jason Dessen, who is a physics professor at a small college/university in Chicago. And he's married to this woman, Daniela, who used to be an artist, but they accidentally got pregnant really early on into their relationship. And so both of them kind of gave up parts of their careers. Like, Jason wanted to be this research scientist and develop all these physics things, but now he just teaches entry-level physics courses. And Daniela wanted to be this like world-renowned artist, but now she's a stay-at-home mom and for some reason doesn't make art at all anymore. That part doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but I'm not an artist, so what do I know? Nothing. It just seems like that's the kind of career that you could continue to have. Maybe not, whatever. I don't want to get into it, but that part is like sort of niggling my brain on reread. But they have this son, Charlie, who's 14 at the start of the book, and the first thing that happens is Jason is going to go because his like former colleague / friend from grad school won this big physics prize called the Pavia. I don't know if it's a real award. I don't pay attention to science like that. But he's having like a congratulatory thing at this bar. So Jason's going to go out and meet him. And then on the way back from the bar, he's walking home and he gets mugged and taken at gunpoint to this like abandoned thing. And then he is drugged and he wakes up in a lab, and everyone thinks that it's him, but they also think that he's a different him. So it explores the multiverse theory. I don't think that's a spoiler at this point, but I am really enjoying this one. Again, I'm rereading it. I love it. But the whole premise is Jason is trying to get back to his world and find his wife and his son, and he keeps bumping into other things. And it's just such an interesting thought experiment, I think. And that's one of the things that like I read, was it Recursion? Is that the other one that I read? It's like a yellow and gray cover, I think. I read that book by Blake Crouch earlier this year. And I really honestly wasn't a big fan, but I thought the concept was so fascinating. And like, I still think about the concept because that one is like, if you could time travel back to a certain point, but your memories, it would like, again, it's kind of like the multiverse because it splits off. So you have all these like false memories. And then if you do something big enough, like it changes the memories of everyone around you too. And it like fucks with the world basically. So that's, again, such an interesting concept, but it like just, I don't know. Something about that one didn't work as well for me. Part of it is that it like jumps through timelines so much. And this one does that with like multiverses, but there's no like long time spent in each time. Like he goes to each different universe or multiverse for like an afternoon or like a few days. It's not like his entire life is spent doing this and then it starts over, which is kind of what happens in Recursion. Without spoiling too much, there's like such time jumps that you have to like live all of that time going forward to see the effects. And I don't know. So all of that to say, this has been kind of a long update. I'm kind of losing my voice too. I don't know what that's about, but I'm enjoying what I'm reading. I'm still 3 books behind my Goodreads goal because it seems like no matter what I finish, I can't catch up. So I did want to tell you that my Goodreads goal for this year is 148 books, which is 1 more book than I read last year. That's sort of what I decided to do this year. But I did do the math, and that's a book every 2.4 days, which is why I can't catch up, because I'm finishing a book about that often, like every 2 days. And that's how often I needed to be finishing books. So already being behind, I need to finish like a bunch of books pretty rapidly. So I'm still hopeful that I can do this, because if I finish these 2 more books tonight, and then see, maybe if I can finish Test of the D'Urbervilles, I can maybe grab another audiobook or just whatever I can do to sort of get through something else. And we'll just see where it goes from here. But that's my update, and I will let you know when I have another one, hopefully soon. Hello. So it is 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, and I have very exciting news. Sorry. I have finished Test of the D'Urbervilles. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if I'm set on my rating on this one, but I don't know if I can even say that I enjoyed my read of the book, but I do think it was such a well-written book, and Tess was such a real character to me, and I just really, like, felt heartbroken for her. I don't know. I also, I liked the ending. I will say that. I know I've seen some reviews that people say they didn't like the ending. Some people say it was the only ending that they felt like could have been satisfactory, and I think that's true. But I did really enjoy the ending of this book, and I'm very excited to look into more spoilery theories on it online. I also finished my reread of Dark Matter. Once again, it was a reread. I'm not going to change my rating on this one. I love Dark Matter. I stand by it. It's a solid book. It's so readable. Like, it's such a quick read because of just the way it reads. Like, there's nothing complicated about it. I guess in theory, the concept is kind of complicated, but not really. Like, it's very easily given to the reader and digestible. And I think Jason Destin is a character that you can root for. I think it's exciting. I enjoy it. So I'm going to keep my rating at 5 stars. I'm glad I reread it. I don't know that I'll need to reread it again. But I did tab a little bit too. I can show you. Not very much. I gave up on tabbing kind of quickly. I'm not very good at annotating or tabbing or like whatever. But the exciting part of this is I am officially back on track. So I thought I needed to read 3 books, but when I checked when I got home from work today, it said I needed to read 2 more books, and I was just conveniently in the middle of 2 books, almost finished with 2 books. So I have finished both my books. Matt is out with some friends tonight. It's also going to storm, so Murphy is under our bed because he heard some thunder earlier, so he's freaking out. Marvel is right here. And I got myself wine. So I'm going to have some wine. I don't know if I kind of am in the mood to read. So I don't know if I'm going to like start my May TBR early or if I'm going to watch something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but that is the end of this vlog. So thank you for coming along on this wild journey with me. I don't know what all this vlog is going to entail. But you know, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a book emoji in the comment section down below to let me know that you were still here at the end of this. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I talk about in this vlog and how you felt about them. Also, let me know how you're doing with your Goodreads challenge. If you are behind like I was at the beginning of this vlog, don't worry about it. It's fake. You made it up yourself, so you can change it at any point. I don't actually put a ton of pressure on myself to keep up with the Goodreads challenge. It's just fun for me. And I would like to, you know, read as much as I can. So I do like to motivate myself, and setting the Goodreads challenge, a book above what I read last year, is a good way for me to do that, I think. So anyways, that's it for this vlog. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me, because I am trying to post 2 videos a week. This will be my second video this week, which is very exciting. And I will see you in another video very soon.